Good afternoon, happy stampers. This is Judi Anderson from judistamps.com, and I'd like to welcome you to my happy stamping studio. Today we're going to be doing a fun fold card with these supplies. We're going to be using the Impressions Abloom stamp set, which is a set of 17 stamps that are a two-step stamp. So you get to color and detail your images with just the stamp set. I'm going to be using Pretty in Pink, Fresh Freesia, and Garden Green today for my inks. Our card base is going to be Fresh Freesia, and then I have a piece of basic white, and then we are going to be using this pack of Floral Impressions Designer Series paper. Now I've already chosen my pieces here, so we're going to set that to the side, but this is a great Designer Series paper pack, you guys. It has many different floral patterns as well as geometric patterns on the back that can bring you throughout the year. I've used this several times before on here, and I am still going through the same pack. So you can make a lot of cards out of that one pack. So I'm going to get started by cutting my cardstock. I'm not going to give you measurements. You'll get those over on my blog tomorrow, which is judistamps.com. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, she's using a full sheet. Well, we're going to use this full sheet almost all the way up. Our end card is going to be 5.5 by 4.25, but because it's a fun fold, I needed to cut it lengthwise. So it's at 5.5 inches there. So next, I'm going to score this. So my first score line is going to be at 1.25 inches. And you'll notice I did that on this side of the cutter because it's easier to cut those short lengths or score those short lengths in that direction with your paper along that guard there. Our next score line is going to be 4 inches. Okay, so now we need to open up our arm on our paper trimmer. That's one of the great features of our paper trimmer is that arm, and you can cut up to over 17 inches. I think it's 17.5 inches. So I'm going to score again. Sure, I've got the right score line. Okay, so we've got our paper scored. Now we need our paper to embellish our card. So we're going to start with one piece that is 5.25. And I think this is a little bit too wide. So what I did is I went through my Designer Series paper and picked out all the scraps that we're going to work on this card today. So that's our first piece. Then I want this green because these are all the colors that are in this floral pattern here. So I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to trim that down also because it's got to fit in the space that I have cut for it. Okay, then our next piece I'm going to use is this Fresh Freesia piece. So I've got plenty here. So I'm going to cut it at 5.25 and trim this down to the size that I need. Just double checking. Okay, and then this piece, we need a piece that's 5.25. And turn it this way. Then I need one additional piece that is going to go on a belly band. And I did not grab that. I'm just going to, well, you know what? This piece right here looks like it's going to work. Oh, but you know what? I want it contrasting. So let's go in here, and we've got this piece here. We'll do another color that's going to bring out the color in that paper. Okay, so don't throw your scraps away, you guys. I even keep these short little ones like these skinny ones, to embellish card inserts. Okay, so I have to score one more piece, and that is our band, which is right here. And we need to cut our basic white yet. So I am going to score this, and do it here. And then I'm going to move it up 1/8 of an inch. And this is just to allow for the thickness of the card. And then I want to bring that all the way up to 4 1/4. And we're going to score again. And then we're going to take it up another 1/8 here and score that again. Okay? So all our pieces are cut. Oops, not our basic white. I need to cut this white. So that is at 2 1/4. How have you guys been doing? Have you got all your decorations from Christmas put away? The weather has been fantastic here the last couple days. Okay, I am going to cut, I'll wait to cut this piece. We're going to use this scrap yet to do some stamping. So let's get our card base. So we have all our pieces of designer series paper and our basic white. I'm going to put that one to the side, and our belly band. So I want to take and I want to fold on all these score lines and burnish those well. As you know, on your fun fold cards, you want to make sure you burnish those score lines. You need to fold them, and you want those nice crisp folds, plus you want it easy to open up. Okay, now I'm going to turn it the other way and the opposite side, and I'm going to score these again, or burnish them. They're already scored. Sorry, burnish them again. And that's just to create that ease of folding. Now we're going to take our belly band, and we're going to fold those on those score lines. You don't have to burnish these because it will move, and it's once we get it put together, it'll be just like that. Oh, the pups are barking upstairs with Dave. Okay, so our card, this is going to be the inside. We're going to fold it accordion like that. Okay, so now we're going to start putting our designer series paper on here. Now, I'm going to start with the largest piece because I may decide to change around some of these pieces. You guys know I have a tendency of changing my mind. So make a comment. Let me know what you guys have been up to. I know several of you are from Canada, and I've got a couple people that have been watching from Australia and the UK. What's the weather like there? Let us know. Okay, this piece is going to go here. So we're just going to leave that right there. Oops, grab the right piece. Yes. Okay, we need a piece for here. So I'm going to put that one on. I don't want my flowers going sideways. If I had cut this in the other direction, it is possible that I could have put this one there. But when I have a floral pattern, a lot of times I like geometric patterns for everything else. And if you wanted this panel to stand out a little more, I could have cut this down another 1/4 inch in both directions and done a panel of white behind it. Okay, so like I said, this is going to fold. This is be flat. accordion style. So this flap is going to be like this. So we've cut two pieces. Got this piece here and this piece here. I think I'm going to use this piece because I like the way it pulls that color up, and we'll use the green on the inside. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down. Now, if you guys watched me over on TikTok, I actually did this card over there last night. And I will show you that card. It's using different patterns, a different set of designer series paper. But some of the images, I like this one, I actually used on that card. Okay. So it's going to open like this. So we have this panel here. So we need to do some stamping here. So I want to do a small flower. And this is a two-step stamp, as I've said before. And we will do the coloring and the detail with our stamps. So no coloring here, you guys. Super easy peasy. Okay, so that's the inside, and that's that. And then we are going to get the center piece here. And I'm going to get the thanks. I'm going to make this a thank you card. And I am going to get the I appreciate you. Now, this does not fit there, but we are going to make it fit. So that's going to be a little trick that I'm going to teach you today, is how to fit that stamp when it's too big. How do we get that to fit? I need to clean these blocks. I haven't cleaned them in a while. So several of you have asked me how Dave is doing. He's doing great. You guys, he turned the corner yesterday. Day before, it wasn't too good. So I want to stamp on here. So we are going to take our Pretty in Pink and our Fresh Freesia. Now the Pretty in Pink is the lighter color, so I'm going to do that for the more solid stamp, and I'm going to use the Fresh Freesia for the detail. It doesn't matter which one you stamp first, it's just what you prefer. I'm going to do this one, which is the detail. I'm going to put that right up here in the corner. Okay, you're going to notice I have a little black dot on there. I took my Stampin' Blends, and because those are permanent, and marked my stamp. That way, when I go to stamp the second image, as long as I remember which way I had this one, pointing up to the left corner, when I take this one and I do the same, it's going to match up. Now, do these have to be perfect? Absolutely not, you guys. I'm going to grab my Daffodil Delight. No, I'm going to do the Darling Duckling. I believe this paper has Darling Duckling in it. Okay. Now, if I wanted that detail to show up more, I could have stamped off with that solid image. Okay, there we go. So our flower is done, but we still have our sentiment, right? So let's get that. I'm going to stamp my sentiment in the garden green. Okay, so like I said, this doesn't fit all the way. So I'm going to ink up everything except for the U. So I'm just going to ink it up very carefully here. Okay, making sure the U doesn't have any ink on it. And I'm actually going to put it at an angle. It would fit straight across, you guys, but how fun is that? Now I'm going to clean my stamp. So I've got to get my Stampin' Scrub here. And I want to make sure the stamp is really clean because I do not want the I appreciate to show up at all on my card. Okay, because what would have to happen? I'd have to flip my paper over and stamp the other side. Right. Now I'm going to ink up that U very carefully. Turn it over, make sure I don't have any ink on there. And then I'm going to put the U right there. There we go. So this long sentiment fit on that tiny piece of paper. Now, if you happen to have our Stampin' Write markers, I believe there's still some left in that last chance list, you guys. You could color your stamps with that. Okay, we're going to use some of these again in just a moment. But let's get this put on here. Close this all up. And we are going to put this in the inside of our card. Okay, so you've got that one right there. Okay, so this card is going to look like this, but now you could stamp another flower if you wanted to put a flower here, but let's finish our band first. So we have our band here. Okay, we're going to wrap that around here. And by doing that, you don't want it real tight. You want this to be able to slide up and down easily. So I always wrap it around my card. And I'm going to put some adhesive on this end here. And some adhesive on this end here. Okay, and then I'm just going to close it gently and hold it for a couple seconds. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to this piece of designer series paper. Now this next step is where we can get really crazy with our designing. You can make this as fancy as you want it, you guys. I'm actually going to take my basic white and we will grab some stamps. And we're going to be die cutting these out because I want layers on the front of this card. I want it to be a wow factor when somebody opens up the envelope, and I want that big smile on their face when they open it up. So I need to get a couple more stamps out. Got big flower, and then I've got the leaves. Okay, so this is where we're really going to have some fun. Now you could, if you have some designer series paper and it doesn't have a stamp set that matches it or coordinates with it, you can always cut your designer series paper up, you guys, and embellish with that. Okay, whoops, I've got two more here. Get those on a block. Lots of blocks today. Okay, we're going to start with this flower. So we are going to stamp the outline in the fresh freesia. Paying attention to, once again, I have my stamp marked. Okay, so we've got the fresh freesia there. Now we have the pretty in pink. This time I am going to stamp off on a scrap piece of paper here. And then stamp. And you are going to be able to see the difference in the coloring. So what that did is that gave me another shade of the pretty in pink. Okay, so now I want to do a small one. And this time I want to stamp again in the fresh freesia first. Okay, full strength. Now I'm going to stamp it in the fresh freesia again, but this time I'm stamping off because what does that do, you guys? That creates, oh, I didn't pay attention to which way. I think it's this way. Another shade, a lighter shade of that same color. So it shows up. Okay, we're going to do a pretty in pink one next. So let me clean my stamps off. And we're going to do the same thing. We are going to stamp off using that same color for both stamps. While I have my Stamp and Scrub out, I'm going to go ahead and clean all these. Do you guys see this side of my Stamp and Scrub, you guys? This is an older Stamp and Scrub. This was an original mat for my first Stamp and Scrub that I bought over 25 years ago. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Okay, so we want to do this full strength, paying attention to where that black dot is. Now we're going to ink it up. We're going to stamp it off, paying attention to where that dot was. Okay, so we have a pink flower and a fresh freesia flower. Now you want to try to clean your stamps off right after you're done stamping. Okay, next we are going to close these up. We're going to do some leaves. We're going to do some flower centers. Hey, Chris, how are you? You missed most of it. Well, at least you made it this far, huh? You can watch the ending. What were you doing today? I had to take Rosie to the vet. She had an ear infection, and so this was a checkup for her. Okay, next we have our green leaves. Now, I'm going to do the same thing. I could even choose not to do the inside, you guys. So look at this. I think that that gives me enough color that I don't need to do the inside. Don't you think so? Look. Beautiful. Okay, so now you have to cut all these out. So let me get my stamps put away, and then we have coordinating dies. I have used this set so much. This is one of my go-to sets, you guys. So if you want a set that goes, and depending on the colors you use, we talked about this about a month ago. You can use the same stamp set. I'm going to leave these out today because I want to clean my blocks. You can use the same stamp set and give it different looks just by changing the colors that you use, either with the designer series paper or just the inks. You can make, I could make this look Christmas or Easter, Valentine's Day. Okay, let me get my cut and emboss machine here. And we are going to cut these out. Now I can cut them out a couple at a time because I've spread them out far enough, and that'll save me time in cutting and save my arm. Not that it's that hard to do. Okay, so for these, we want to line them up, and I know this long, skinny petal right there will match up with that long, skinny one. Now, I advise you when you go to do several dies at one time to use a Post-it note to hold it on. Okay, so we're going to hold that one on. Then I've got a die for this one. And this was marked to, so I will often mark my dies also, so I know. And then a lot of times if it's like a stamp that's really hard to distinguish in which way it goes, I will mark on my paper next to the stamp image where that mark is, so that when I go to, oh, I've got these all taped together. So this set has these pieces that go on the inside and embossed also, but we're not doing that today. Let's do this one here. Just line that up. Make sure it's in the cutting direction though. There we go. And we will use our Post-it. Shopping, just a few things. Did you go to the Mission today? Chris likes to go bargain shopping, and she goes, a little ways from here and goes to the Mission, and she donates things there and she buys. I don't know if she buys more than she donates, but that's a great way, you guys. You know, if you, as you're spring cleaning this year, think of places in your area that you can donate what you want to get rid of, because you may want to get rid of, and it might be somebody else's treasure. Right, Chris? Okay, we're going to take these. We've got one more of each of these. A lot of times they'll give you like a couple of leaf dies, but they didn't in this set. Bummer! Okay, we're going to go ahead and put our Post-it note on so it doesn't move as we're putting the next one on. There we go. I'm just going to cut these. Welcome in, everybody. Please say hello as you come on. We are making a fun fold today. We are using some die cuts, some designer series paper, and of course stamping. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this die away so it doesn't fall someplace and I lose it. How many of you have lost a die before? Tell the truth. Come on, fess up. I have. I actually used a stamp the other day, and stamp set, and I was looking for a stamp in there and it's missing. You know, sometimes those small stamps. So sometime in a class or even me just stamping here, it either fell on the floor or stuck to something. I can tell you I'll probably find it someplace, because I'm not always, but I do find stamps laying around as I'm doing stuff in my studio. Okay, so I put those all back in, and you may have noticed that I have them here. I put them on a magnetic sheet in here, and the ones that have this tape on, they go inside and they actually emboss the centers of those flowers. So lots of options with that set. Okay, are you guys ready to finish up our card? Let me put this away. You know, I don't know, but sometimes I have a tendency of using something and not putting it right away. And then pretty soon I have a bunch of every stuff here. Well, I have vowed that this year I'm not going to do that. So whether I'm on a live or stamping by myself, I am going to be putting my stuff away right away. But first I have to make sure everything's in there. I forgot to put a stamp in there. Let's do that. And this is pretty easy to keep because this is like right behind me. All I have to do is turn around. I've done that on purpose. When I organize my stuff, I think of where I do most of my stamping, etc. Oh, did I put the thanks away? Oh, Chris, you should be yelling at me. Judy, you put the thanks away. You're not done with it. Oh, no, I didn't put it away. Okay. Now I've been putting everything away as I've gone. Here it is. So we are going to take the thanks, and I am going to stamp it with room on both sides because I want this to be a tag, but I haven't decided if I want it to go to the left or to the right yet. So by stamping it in the center, I'm giving myself those options. No mission. Your brother-in-law has, avoiding that area till next week. Now more time to find things to donate. Yeah, I've got a box of stuff here. And I have a bag for a teammate. I asked her if she wanted some business ideas. If I don't give them to her soon, they're going away. Okay, so here is the front, and here is our embellishment. So this is what we have to decorate the front of our card. Plus, of course, I have glue. I take my glue eraser here. It's dry enough to remove it. You don't want to leave that adhesive, that liquid adhesive. It is the bomb, you guys. I use it more than my tape runner, but it stays sticky. Okay? So you don't want it to ruin anything. Okay, so this is where we go to designing. So here is my thanks. Here is my flowers. So they don't all have to be on here. I just want to estimate kind of where I want everything. And put it like that. Okay, so I want this to go to the right. So I'm going to take my paper snip. I'm going to snip this off. I'm going to snip it off kind of long. This side, I'm just going to rip it. Okay, so you've got that. I'm going to clip the corners so it looks like a tag. We may not see that, but I don't want to chance it. Okay, we got that. And we have this on here. So that's plenty long enough. So I can go ahead and adhere that. Now you could go and adhere this one on with dimensionals, but because I'm adding other layers, I'm going to be adding those with dimensionals. So you're going to see in a second. Going to do a dimensional here. And I'm going to put it right in the center because I know I'm going to want to tuck some leaves under. So I'm going to put this way with that long petal off to the left. Okay. Now I know I'm going to want some leaves. So I have the option here. I can even put these on here, you guys. So I'm bringing that decoration into the inside of my card. So we could do that this way. So I'm going to ask you for your opinion. On what you think. Should we put them there? Or should I add more flowers? I'm going to put the purple one there. Here and keep it all on the belly band. What do you think? I'll give you a second. Put this one on the belly band too to let me know. Should we put it all on the belly band or should I put it in the inside of the card too? While you're deciding, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this away. I'm waiting for your answer. Like this? You like it all on the band. Okay. So this is where we can start gluing. And it's possible that I will also adhere the leaves with a dimensional. This one, I can take the glue and put it on the front here, you guys. And you just need a little dot. A little dot. That was more than a little dot. We'll use that on the back of this too. And I'm going to press it up against this flower. Okay, so I'm pressing down, but it's going to pop. See how it popped up with that flower. This one is going to be adhered down flat, so it won't be sticking up. Okay, then we have these two to do, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere those right directly to the belly band. Okay, that one's going to tuck under a little bit. It's kind of sneaking a peek, right? Oh, uh-oh. It's too late. Sorry, Chris. It's a little bit late. Okay, we've got that. There's our belly band. Now we're going to add some embellishments to this. Let me see what I have. I'll bet you they're screaming at me. No, no, I didn't mean there. Okay, I've got these, and I like these little yellow ones, just something small. Don't have my take your pick tool right here. I'm just going to add those to the center of the flowers. So we're going to add two small ones to the small flowers. Then I've got another pack. You know, I can tell you guys, my these dots, these are the 2025, 2027 in color flat pearls. I probably have gone through 5 packs of these things. We could add this, but I'm actually going to add the strawberry slush one. Okay, that's going to give it a little more interest. See how that pops? So here's the belly band. See how nicely it slides? That's what you want. And then it's going to open like this. Like I said, I could go in and I could stamp a couple more flowers for that panel. It just depends on how much time you want to take to make a card for somebody special. This will slide right in there. And there we go. So there is today's card. Your card, my choice. Oh, thanks, Chris. Well, everybody, thanks for joining me today. This was fun. I love it when you guys comment in the comments when I'm here. That's what this live is all about. So until we meet again, everybody, happy stamping.